Have you ever wondered what it would be like to walk through a city that feels deserted? A city that was once bustling with life, but now stands eerily quiet, with abandoned buildings and empty streets. Well, that's the reality for many cities in the United States today. In 2025, several cities are slowly fading into what some might call ghost towns. But what's causing this phenomenon? Economic decline, population migration, or something else entirely? Stick around and let's explore the cities that are facing this unsettling future. Number 10. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, the Motor City, is a prime example of a city that once stood as a beacon of American industrial power. In its heyday, it was the heart of the automotive industry, drawing workers from across the country and even the world. The booming automotive industry was a lifeline for the city, fueling its economy and shaping its identity. Detroit's population grew rapidly, and neighborhoods were full of families, businesses, and workers who proudly contributed to the city's engine of productivity. But today, Detroit's skyline tells a different story. The city's population has been in a steady decline for decades, and whole neighborhoods have been abandoned. Once thriving businesses have either shut down or relocated, leaving behind vast empty spaces. Entire city blocks stand desolate, with once proud homes now forgotten and overrun by nature. Though there have been efforts to revive parts of the city, such as downtown Detroit and Midtown, many areas remain in disrepair. With high unemployment rates and struggling schools, it's clear that Detroit's battle is far from over. But could Detroit rise from its ashes? Many people think so, pointing to the early signs of urban renewal. There are tech startups moving into the city, and young artists and creatives are breathing new life into the scene. Yet the question remains, can these efforts overcome the deep-rooted issues facing Detroit, or is it destined to remain a cautionary tale for the future? Number 9. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri, once a thriving city due to its strategic location along the Mississippi River and its prominence in manufacturing, has been losing residents at an alarming rate. In its prime, St. Louis was known for its innovation, its cultural contributions, and its central role in the country's economy. The Gateway Arch stood proudly as a symbol of progress, welcoming people to a city brimming with opportunities. But the decline of major industries, such as manufacturing and transportation, has made it harder for St. Louis to reinvent itself. As the city's economy weakened, many businesses closed, and jobs were lost to other cities, causing a population exodus. Today, St. Louis is one of the most dangerous cities in America, with high crime rates and neighborhoods filled with abandoned homes and commercial spaces. While some areas of the city are undergoing revitalization, St. Louis continues to grapple with its shrinking population and growing economic challenges. The city's storied past as a bustling industrial center now feels like a distant memory. Yet there are glimmers of hope in the form of tech hubs and emerging cultural projects. Could these efforts be enough to stem the tide of decline, or will they prove to be too little, too late? St. Louis is at a crossroads, and its future is uncertain. Number 8. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland has long been an industrial powerhouse, but the city has faced numerous challenges since the decline of manufacturing in the 1970s and 1980s. Once a symbol of American industrial success, Cleveland is now a shadow of its former self. The collapse of the steel and automotive industries left the city with massive unemployment rates, and many residents left for better opportunities elsewhere. As large swaths of the city became vacant, abandoned homes and factories became common sights. The population has dwindled to a fraction of what it once was, and parts of Cleveland now resemble ghost towns, with empty streets and crumbling buildings. Despite attempts at urban revitalization, Cleveland still struggles with high poverty rates and a shrinking tax base. Many of the city's once thriving neighborhoods are now shells of what they used to be, and businesses are slow to return. However, Cleveland has been trying to reinvent itself with new industries, including healthcare and biotechnology. While there has been some progress, it's clear that the city's economic foundation is still fragile. Will Cleveland be able to shake off its past struggles and emerge as a revitalized city, or will it continue to shrink into a forgotten relic of industrial America? Number 7. Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, once a major center for steel production and a hub for shipping and transportation, has witnessed a dramatic transformation in recent decades. In the early 20th century, Buffalo was one of the wealthiest cities in the U.S. But over time, industries that once powered the economy began to decline. The steel industry, which had employed thousands, left the city in a state of economic turmoil, and the decline of manufacturing jobs contributed to an exodus of residents. Once a thriving urban hub, Buffalo has been plagued by vacant properties, abandoned businesses, and a dwindling population. However, there's hope for Buffalo yet. The city is working to revitalize its waterfront and promote technology and innovation, with efforts to transform old industrial areas into thriving spaces for startups. But even with these efforts, it's hard to ignore the looming question: will these initiatives be enough to stop the city's decline, or is Buffalo's fate already sealed? The struggle to reinvent itself continues, and it remains to be seen whether Buffalo can recapture the vibrancy it once had. Number 6. Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey, located just across the river from Philadelphia, has faced a long, steep decline due to the loss of manufacturing jobs, rising crime rates, and economic instability. Once an industrial center, Camden has become one of the most impoverished cities in the United States. The collapse of major industries in the city, such as shipbuilding, left behind vast swaths of abandoned properties. Camden became infamous for its high crime rates and poverty, and many residents moved to nearby suburbs or other cities in search of better living conditions. While there are efforts underway to revitalize Camden, such as encouraging the growth of healthcare and educational sectors, the city remains plagued by its struggles with unemployment and crime. The city is constantly in a state of flux, but the question remains: can Camden find a way to rebuild itself, or will it continue to be trapped in a cycle of decline? The potential for revitalization is there, but it will take more than just a few new businesses to turn Camden around. Number 5. Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan, is perhaps best known for its ongoing water crisis, which highlighted the city's struggles with poverty, poor governance, and economic decline. Once a major player in the automotive industry, Flint was once a prosperous city where General Motors operated some of its largest plants, but the decline of the auto industry and the loss of manufacturing jobs led to widespread poverty, and many residents fled in search of better opportunities. The city's infrastructure began to crumble, and Flint's troubles were compounded by the disastrous water crisis that made national headlines. While efforts are being made to restore Flint's water supply and rebuild the city's infrastructure, the effects of the crisis are still being felt today. Abandoned homes and factories are common sights, and unemployment remains high. Despite efforts to rebuild, Flint's future remains uncertain. Could Flint recover from the devastation, or is it doomed to continue its decline? Number 4. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, once a thriving steel town, has reinvented itself over the years by shifting its economy toward healthcare, education, and technology. The city's decline began in the mid-20th century when the steel industry collapsed, taking with it thousands of jobs. Many residents left in search of work, and entire neighborhoods were abandoned. But in the last few decades, Pittsburgh has worked hard to transform itself into a hub for education, healthcare, and technology. Its revitalized downtown area and thriving arts scene are proof of the city's resilience. However, Pittsburgh still faces challenges. The city's population continues to shrink, and many of its former steel neighborhoods remain in disrepair. As younger generations leave for opportunities elsewhere, Pittsburgh's struggle to retain its identity continues. Can Pittsburgh continue to reinvent itself? Or will it eventually succumb to the same fate as other industrial cities on this list? The answer to that question could shape the future of many similar cities across the country. Number 3. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans, Louisiana has a unique and storied history, but it's a city that has faced its fair share of challenges in recent decades. The devastation caused by Hurricane Katrina in 2005 took a massive toll on the city, and many areas are still struggling to fully recover. While parts of New Orleans have rebounded, many neighborhoods remain in disrepair, with high crime rates and rising costs of living driving some residents to leave. The loss of jobs in the oil and gas industries has further exacerbated the city's struggles, and there's a growing divide between the revitalized areas and those still dealing with the aftermath of the storm. Despite these challenges, New Orleans remains a city with immense cultural wealth, and efforts are underway to breathe life back into the city. But the question remains: can it recover fully, or will it continue to fade into the background of America's forgotten cities? Number 2. Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford, once the insurance capital of the world, has experienced a significant downturn in recent years. Once a thriving city, Hartford has seen many businesses relocate, and with them, jobs and residents. High unemployment and the city's inability to adapt to a changing economy have led to widespread disinvestment. Office buildings stand empty, and many neighborhoods are filled with vacant homes. Hartford has attempted to revitalize its downtown area, but these efforts have not been enough to halt the city's overall decline. Can Hartford find a way to reinvent itself, or will it continue its path toward becoming just another forgotten urban relic? Number 1. Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana might just surprise you as the final city on our list. Once a thriving industrial hub, Gary was known for its steel mills, which fueled its economy and brought in workers from all over the country. During its peak, Gary was a bustling, energetic city with a promising future. But, as the steel industry collapsed and factories closed, the city's fortunes rapidly declined. Today, Gary has one of the highest crime rates in the country, and a significant portion of its population has fled in search of better opportunities elsewhere. Once vibrant neighborhoods are now ghostly remnants of their former selves, with abandoned homes, crumbling infrastructure, and an economy that continues to struggle. The city's attempts to reinvent itself have been met with limited success, and Gary's future remains uncertain. However, what stands out about Gary is the sheer scale of its fall. From a booming industrial city to a place with empty streets and desolate areas, it's hard to fathom how quickly things have changed. The question on everyone's mind is, can Gary rise from the ashes, or is it too far gone to recover? Gary's story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that no city, no matter how powerful, is immune to change.